Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me again on the St. Pete Soul podcast. I am super excited to have the fabulous Gina DeFord with me today. She is the founder of Babe Crafted, which is an amazing women's group of membership that I happen to be a part of as well. So Gina, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be on St. Pete Soul.
Awesome. Well, let's dive right in. So tell everybody a little bit of backstory about yourself.
Sure. So first and foremost, I want to avoid falling into the trap of starting with the day of my birth. I know that we sometimes can tend to draw things out a bit,
Yeah.
but a little bit about me is, so I moved to Tampa in 2007 to go to the University of Tampa. And this city has given me so much. I met my husband while working at Tampa Theater. I ended up, beginning my career here and then later starting businesses. So I'm really happy to be part of the Tampa Bay area. I live in Seminole Heights in a historic home with my husband and, very sassy cat and playful dog. And I really love to, I'm always working on planning my next trip to London. So that's something that often people will find out about me pretty quickly.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, so you gotta touch on that. What's the connection with London?
Sure. Well, it's the Spice Girls, first and foremost. Um, but I did study abroad in London in college, and it really opened up my world, like really getting to know the city beyond, just kind of like the touristy types of things that you do when you go. I mean, Big Ben, incredible, Borough Market, incredible. But I mean, there's so much to do and see there, and there's just magic around every corner.
That's super cool. So how long, you said you studied abroad there? How long was that?
3 months.
3 months. Okay. Very cool. So, okay. So tell me, like, why do you love the Tampa Bay area so much? Like what's so special about it for you?
Of course. So when I was growing up, I would spend some of my weekends in St. Pete. My mother and father were divorced and, they shared custody. And my dad owned an apartment building in downtown. And I mean, downtown in St. Pete was a totally different world, 15, 20 years ago. And, at the time, like we lived not too far from, it's now called Sundial, but it used to be called Baywalk and Central Avenue. I mean, today it's full of all these incredible restaurants and local businesses and boutiques, but at the time it was mostly shuttered. So I mean, I really enjoyed being able to like spend time in this really walkable, beautiful downtown area, but it's also been really amazing seeing the city change. So I spent time in St. Pete when I was growing up, and then I also spent time in Tampa seeing live shows, going to the Orpheum, and it used to be called the Masquerade. Now it's the Ritz in Ybor. So I really just had the associations I had with Tampa Bay were fun and vibrant and just full of really amazing things to do. So I really love this area. And even though I'm not a very beachy person, I really love that we have some of the most beautiful beaches, that I've ever seen. And it's just a really great place. I mean, people are really friendly. It's pretty easy to navigate and find what you're looking for.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. Vibrant is a great word to describe the area. I mean, there's so much stuff to do here. You could like have a running list and never get to do everything.
Totally. Yeah. It used to be, like you would open up Creative Loafing and look up, oh, okay, there's, here's a couple things we can do this weekend. But now you can't fit it you can't fit on one page, by any stretch, like all the things to do, like whether it's art, food, music, there's a lot to do in this area.
Yeah. So are you a Florida girl? Were you born in the area, or where are you from originally?
I was born on Long Island in New York, but I moved to Florida when I was 6. So I'm a Florida girl. I mean, I still do hang on to my New York roots. I'm really proud to be from New York. I mean, my grandfather on my father's side like worked in public transportation, for the MTA, and then my grandfather on my mother's side was a New York police officer. So I mean, we have some pretty strong New York roots.
Cool. Do you get to go up there often to visit?
Not as often as I'd like, but I'm really fortunate to have a lot of family, both on Long Island and in the city. So it's really nice to kind of get the best of both worlds and get to see everybody. I mean, COVID has been pretty crazy the past 2 years. I think that my husband and I would have traveled, 1 to 2 times over that time, but it's just kind of looking a little different lately. But it's definitely on my vision board to be able to visit family again and do some exploring and just get to enjoy some of what New York has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, so tell me the journey about starting your business, and you may have, obviously been doing something else like past career, and kind of where did that idea come from, and how did you get to where you are today?
Yes. So let me give you like paint the picture a little bit. So before I became a business owner, my very first job I got when I was my first big girl job when I was 24. I started working at Creative Loafing. I was running the marketing department. I mean, it was everything from events to promotions to social media. I mean, it was a little bit of everything, even bringing in some PR skills to the table. Because at the time, I mean, we ran a newspaper. Like, we marketed everything that we had to offer in that newspaper. So for the first time ever, like, I was collaborating with other publications to spread the word about what we had to offer with our events. So that was really wonderful, which then, after about 2 years led me to my next position. I was working with Dad's Restaurant Group, focusing on PR, communication, social media, with a little bit of events sprinkled in too. So I have a really broad background, but to be totally honest with you, like, 4 years into working for other companies, working for other people, like, I just really, I mean, 4 years is not that long. Like, I pretty quickly realized that if I wanted to have control over my time and my schedule and who I worked with, what projects I worked on, I was going to have to work for myself, which was something that I always had in the back of my head, you know. So the first business that I launched was called Boss Babe Club. And the idea behind it was I wanted to highlight all the amazing women-owned businesses in the Tampa Bay area. At the time, this was I started brainstorming in 2016. At the time, there started to be more of a mainstream conversation happening about women business owners' accomplishments. But I felt like, what I was seeing was those conversations were happening in Chicago and New York and LA. And I was like, well, we've got it going on down here in St. Pete and Tampa, Clearwater. I mean, there's a lot of really ambitious, creative women here building really cool things.
For sure.
So right? So, I mean, including yourself. So, I wanted to shine a light on them and what they were doing and help them add to their toolkit. So Boss Babe Club started out as like a kind of like a media and lifestyle company. And then I launched Babe Crafted in 2018. So sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Started brainstorming to launch a business in 2016, launched Boss Babe Club in 2017, launched Babe Crafted in 2018. So,
Okay.
And Babe Crafted is a membership. So it is a network of women-owned businesses. My goal is to help them add to their toolkits to continue to be the face of their brand and show up in their business and market their business to the best of their ability and have fun while they do it, be supported while they do it.
Well, I can vouch that it's fantastic membership since I'm a part of it. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, talking about your past career with Creative Loafing and Dad's, it sounds like you've been very events focused. And would you say you have a passion for events? Because I feel like you incorporate that really heavily into your Babe Crafted membership.
Yes, that is such a great question. Events are my main passion. Just getting people in a room together is a really magical opportunity, because you never know who you could meet. You're definitely going to, if you're open to it, if your mind is open, if your heart is open, if your eyes are open, like there's someone in that room who you can connect with and, become friends with and support each other in that fashion. I mean, collaborate with, launch product lines together. I mean, create a collaborative service together. I mean, there's so many opportunities to grow and move forward together. One of my other really fun kind of like St. Pete stories is when I was in college, I interned for No Clubs Productions. And they have been hosting live shows and selling records in the St. Pete area for years and years. And I was promoting, these really great concerts, and the thing that I really loved about the concert, I mean, the music was great, seeing the band was great, but I loved watching the audience. Like
Mhm.
seeing the audience, like just have a great time together and sing the lyrics together. Like these people, I mean, all have their own separate lives, right? And they're all doing their own thing, during the day. But then that night they come together and they've got something really beautiful in common, is that they're sharing this experience together and they are loving this music together. So that is something that I noticed about myself back when I was interning, like I think that was like my sophomore year of college. So events have been a passion of mine since then. And, I've been really fortunate I've hosted and promoted everything from a, 2,000 person beer festival when working for Creative Loafing to an intimate, 20-person tasting dinner at Death Restaurant Group to hosting intimate workshops and, community events and panel events with Babe Crafted.
Cool. Yeah. So you've got lots of experience with events and you know what works and what doesn't work, and like how for the people that are there to get like the most out of the event. So
Yes, thank you. And still learning a ton. I mean, I feel like with events, like you've got to constantly be adding it to your toolkit and you really have to be on your A game because there's so many details, I mean, it's one thing to have the event look beautiful. It's another thing to really make sure that the people who are coming to the event are going to be able to have a great experience and interact with what you've created for them. So there's a lot of layers to it and it can often be really stressful, but when it's going well and people are having a nice time, like it's a really beautiful thing.
yeah, absolutely. Some people may not know this about me, but I was an event planner before I got into real estate. So I kind of can see what you're saying about events. It's really satisfying to watch people have an awesome time at something that you put together. So
How cool that that's a part of your background too, Brittany. That's wonderful.
yeah.
What would you say, and I have a question for you, like, would you say there are any like skills from your event planning days that you've pulled over into your real estate career?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think probably the having a process in place, being organized and attention to detail is something that you have to have if you're planning events. And I think that's probably one of the main components that I brought over to real estate because, obviously every client is different, but there are these baseline things that we really need to get down to for, whether it's a buyer or seller. So I have processes in place and that way it helps, the expectations be the same across the board and then we can handle any obstacles that come up. So yeah, that's a good question.
That's awesome. Well, it's so nice to know. I mean, even though you're not, focusing, your time and energy on event planning specifically, it's really wonderful to see that like the time and energy that you spent in that career has carried over and that those skills are alive and well. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think people, and probably a lot of people don't spend enough time thinking about that, but, any kind of past career or experience that you went through, I mean, that is going to only benefit you in the future and give you the tools you need to make better decisions down the road. And so, it's kind of like the idea of like, there's really no such thing as failure because everything is just a learning experience. So I think that kind of ties into that.
Heck yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's like such a positive, wonderful outlook. And I mean, like back to talking about like opportunity, like if something doesn't go the way that you were hoping for it to go, well, it's an opportunity to like analyze it, pick up and take the things that you can, bring with you to make things better in the future and do even better next time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. So tell me like, now I know that you are full-time. This is your, full-time career. How long did it take you to kind of feel like you were at that point where I started my business, I'm full-time, I'm all in, that kind of thing.
Oh man, that's a great question. I mean, there are days that I feel like, all right, yeah, like I'm here, I've made it, I'm a business owner. And there are days where I just feel like totally inept and overwhelmed and like the waves are just coming over me, So I feel like something that I've been really looking forward to since I first became a business owner, back in 2017, was getting to my 5-year mark, because I had heard that, like, okay, if you hit 5 years, like, you have created something that is sustainable and that you're going to be able to carry forward. Like, that is a business that is alive and is successful. And I'm really proud to say that this summer I'm about to hit my 5-year mark as a business owner. Thank you. Thank you.
That's so exciting. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm really excited. And, something that I'm always, talking to my members about and talking to my community about is, celebrating your wins. And that's something that, I say that to others, but it's also a reminder to myself, because I am a very humble person. So I actually would like to, over the next few weeks, like, start to thinking about, how do I want to celebrate that? How do I want to commemorate that occasion? Because, you only hit your first anniversary one time, you only hit your 5th anniversary one time. So, it's important to acknowledge, like, how far you've come, because otherwise, like, why are we doing this? Like, it's really important to be in the moment and celebrate what we've already accomplished. Goals in the future are important, but I think we have to acknowledge where we already are.
I 100% agree. I have a business coach, and that's stuff that he talks to me about, because I think most people who are business owners, they're overachievers. So we're hard on ourselves, but you have to take the time to celebrate the wins. Like what you're saying, that's a huge milestone and you've got to celebrate it. And I hope that you throw a big party or something that I get to go to, because that's awesome.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Most definitely. There's going to be some kind of social element to it, some kind of element of coming together. But I think that it's something that I've definitely been looking forward to. And always knew that I'd hit it, but it's awesome to really have it on the horizon.
Yeah, that's so cool. Okay. So let's kind of dive back into Babe Crafted. What would be maybe some obstacles that you kind of faced along the way when you said you launched it in 2018, which you were transitioning from something else that you had created? What was kind of some of those obstacles that you overcome to, get to where you are now?
Of course. So, I mean, I think one of the biggest ones was, so when I started Boss Babe Club, hosting ticketed events and selling merchandise and creating, blog content, I quickly realized that alone was not going to sustain me. I didn't have the capital to have the large scale events that I wanted to have, or to launch the product lines that I wanted to launch. So I went back to the drawing board, and I realized that the types of content that women were that was really resonating with women, the women that I wanted to serve, was all about, building your confidence and marketing and business foundations. And they were also really enjoying the events that I was hosting. So I went back to the drawing board and I came up with this membership idea, because I thought, I could package the skills that I already have, and create this network of women that, you put us all together and we're one big super brain. I mean, we've been there, we've done that. We can refer each other to, if we don't have it, we can refer you to someone that does, so it took some courage, to do that. I could have gotten scared and thrown in the towel, but instead I was like, what, there's an opportunity here to create something that doesn't already exist, and to further meet the mission, which is to support and highlight women-owned businesses here in Tampa Bay. So since launching, the membership in January of 2018, officially, under the name Babe Crafted, I have been able to not only serve women here in this area, but also expand to add ladies in other states and even other countries. So it's been really cool, seeing women support each other, whether you live in St. Pete or you live in San Diego or, near Detroit, Michigan.
That's very cool. So how it's interesting to have so many women that are in Tampa Bay, but then you've got the people that are the women that are around the country. And even I think maybe you've told me before that you have someone over in Europe. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, we have 2 gals in London.
Okay. So what do you feel like the dynamic is there? Having that collaboration between people that are in the rest of the country, across the world, and Tampa Bay?
Yeah. So it's a little challenging, to serve the women who are here where I am and also serve the women who are at other places. But some of the things that we have in place, is our members only Facebook group. That's a really great opportunity for members to continue to get to know each other outside of our in-person and virtual events. So that's a great place that we can really come together and hear each other out, share validation, encouragement, feedback, and find collaboration opportunities. That's been really, really helpful. And then I am also the queen of email memos, so I'm always sending out like, okay, here's what we have coming up. Here's what you can take part in. And also like sharing tips and ideas on, here's how to stay in touch with your fellow members. Here's how to build relationships with your fellow members, because not relationship building doesn't come naturally to everybody. It's something that even people who are really good at it, need to continue to work at it, to not get complacent, and to follow up and reach out and take initiative. So it's definitely a learning curve, like for both myself and members, but it's a total joy to get these women together, to learn, to grow, share feedback, celebrate, all the above.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing about the time that we live in, is having the technology to be able to connect with each other wherever we may live. We've got Zoom, we've got Facebook. The Facebook groups are so good, to inspire that collaboration. So yeah, that's really awesome.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And always learning and growing, like always adding new features, improving current features. The membership that I have today is not the membership that I launched back in 2018, so it really has taken a lot of retooling and figuring out like, okay, this works, let's keep doing it. This doesn't work, let's stop doing it. And I feel like that's one of my favorite things about being a business owner, is that I get to make that call. So if something is successful, great, let's keep it up. If it's not, I don't have to drag it around with me. I can just let it go. So when I was working for other people, I just didn't have that. I didn't have that power, that autonomy. So I really appreciate that that's on the table at this point.
That's a great point. And that's such and that's the advantage to owning your own business, is it is yours to do whatever you want with. And it's a living, breathing thing. So like you're saying, it can evolve and change. But kudos to you to being open to that change, because some people have a hard time with that. It's like we get so keyed on like a particular thing that when we just can't let it go, even when it's not working. So that's cool to hear that you're like, you have that awareness around that, to see what works, what doesn't work, and to adapt and change. So
thanks, girl. And, and I really love talking about challenges and obstacles, because I feel like we can learn so much from them. And also I really like being transparent. I don't want anyone to think like, oh, like Gina started a business and then launched another business and everything's just been real smooth and great. There's been a lot of things that have been smooth and great, but I've had some missteps along the way. For better or worse, and I'd be happy to share a couple more of those if you're game.
Yeah, absolutely. Go right ahead.
Right on. So one of them is, I really struggle to ask for help. And I think that a lot of other business owners and women do too. Is this something that you work on as well?
Yes. I've definitely improved in that, but yeah, I identify with that.
It's hard. And for some people that comes maybe a little more naturally, but it definitely doesn't to me. And, starting a business without a business background, there was a lot to learn, like you just start running and you pick up things as you go. And, there came a time, it was like February of, I think it was, it doesn't really matter the year. It was, I was showing up for an event, and I had my my new virtual assistant, she happened to live in Tampa. So she was working with me. So she was working in person at that event, and she had said she wanted to have a conversation with me. And I thought, oh gosh, I think this girl's going to fire me as a client. Like I'm missing deadlines, like I'm not showing up for her in the way that I want to help her do the things that she needs to do for my business. But instead of firing me as a client, like we really had like, a sit down where it was like, okay, I think what's happening is that you're overwhelmed. Like this was her speaking to me, like I know that you're not meeting these deadlines on purpose. Like you have too much on your plate. There are some disconnects in your operations. So like, let's really dive into that. And she, she added some more meetings, added some more phone calls to our agenda. And she was really able to help me, not just like work on, for lack of a better metaphor, like not just handle like the symptoms of the cold, if you will, but like get to like the actual illness, and diagnose that. So I really appreciated that she was able to offer me the help that I didn't know how to ask for. And since I've gotten a lot better at saying like, okay, I'm noticing there's a breakdown happening, like, let's figure it out. Like, don't just put, I don't just put blinders on anymore and just try to like make it work, because that's just not possible all the time. Like, I'm really able to step back now and say like, all right, we need to figure this out. This element is not working, or this way of doing things is not sustainable. So having worked with that virtual assistant, which was Kristen of Bow and Vast, just to give her a nice little shout out. I've since worked with other VAs and other independent contractors, and I'm continuing to get better at like asking for help and noticing when I'm like, oh, I'm overbooking myself, or, oh, you know what, this is too much. And I used to think that was a weakness, that was like, well, I'm not working hard enough, or I'm not, I just need to try harder and I'll get it right. Like, no, that wasn't the issue.
Yeah. Our society, I think, puts that pressure, and we totally, you got to have that awareness and not burn yourself out just trying to keep up pace, So do you still have a VA, or what, like, have you hired on people? What does that look like for you now?
Yeah, of course. And I want to say real quick what you said about, keeping pace. I think being a business owner is about finding your own pace.
Yes. Ooh, that's a really good like tagline. You need to trademark that.
It came from what you had just said, like I think it's really important to find your own way of doing things. And like, that's how you're going to stand out in the marketplace. Like, that's how you're going to be able to deliver something special and impactful to your clients. Like, it's not about just doing what everybody else is doing and trying to keep up with everybody else. Like, we'll just burn out that way,
Yeah, absolutely.
But to answer your question about like what my support team looks like nowadays, so I work with a marketing and event assistant. Her name is Vicki Glaze. So she is a really incredible polymer clay jewelry designer, and then she also has a background and passion for marketing and events and communications. So I've been really fortunate to work with her, because I definitely could not do everything that I do by myself. It just would not work out, girl. So I'm really happy to have someone like Vicki who can, bring ideas to the table and like have a little bit more of a full picture look at everything that's going on, because we have a lot of events, and I have a lot of really incredible members that have different questions and different goals. And my mind is definitely typically in a place of, okay, like, how can I better, best serve the members who I already have? And then also I'm pitching new members. I'm building relationships with new potential members, so having her eyes on, okay, like, here's what's coming up, and, oh, we need some Instagram stories to promote this event, and all kinds of things like that has been very, very helpful. And then I also have a couple other event assistants that I work with, depending on who's available when, and a couple of really incredible photographers that I work with to capture our events. So it's really helpful to have people, to lean on and to call when it's like, oh, we need some support here, or we need some support over there.
Yeah. And then you don't feel like you're doing it all by yourself, and you start to feel like you're drowning at that point.
Yes. Oh my gosh, of course, and the irony of like having a network and support group for business owners is, I'm putting out that support, and those resources for others, but I need to be on top of that for myself as well. So like, I have had to like seek out that extra support, in lots of different forms. I mean, in the form of an assistant, in the form of a therapist, in the form of, certifications and books, to support my goals. And also leaning on friends more, like getting together for a glass of wine or event session goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say, like, kind of your why? Like, what's the big why for you? What's that motivating factor of like, gets you up every day to work on this amazing business?
That is a beautiful question. I have always been really excited by being around people who are going after their dreams and following their passion and, overcoming these obstacles to continue to pursue that passion. Like whether it's, being an artist or being a graphic designer, being a bookkeeper. Whatever it is that is your jam and you love doing, like I want to be around that aura that you have, and I want to support it with the skills I have, with the pep talks that I have to give, so that seeing my members enjoy their journey as business owners, like enjoy their journey as being women and, being people in the world, and supporting those efforts, seeing them smash their goals, that's always really exciting for me.
That's a cool why. I like to hear that. You're kind of like you're the cheerleader, on the sidelines for all of us.
Yes, and what's funny is I did cheerlead for 1 year in middle school. So like both literally and metaphorically. I always want to be that positive voice on your shoulder saying like, you've got this, you can do this, keep going.
I love that. Very cool. So what would you say would be kind of the value that you feel like you bring your members? Kind of what are those, like we talked about events, the Facebook group, but kind of go into a little more detail in that.
Of course, yeah. So the number one reason why members join Babe Crafted is authentic connection with like-minded business owners. And I know that some of those words feel buzzwordy, but they're not, because it's what I hear over and over. Like when someone new joins Babe Crafted, they get an email that welcomes them into the Girl Gang and lets them know what their next step is. And the next step is to fill out our new member survey so that I can add them to our member directory, send them goodies in the mail. And then also ask them a couple questions about why they joined, what they want to get out of Babe Crafted, and what goals they're working on. Because the more I know about my members, the better I can serve them and point them in specific directions, connect them with people who I think are a good fit for them, things like that. So the number one reason why they join is connection. Like being a business owner is exciting and amazing, but it can also be very overwhelming, very lonely, especially because 99% of my members are solopreneurs. So they don't have a co-founder, like they're in it. This is their vision. But it's really important to have support along the way, whether it is you're celebrating a big win, like maybe maybe a client just booked you at your highest package, or maybe you're launching your very first workshop or course, and you want to celebrate that. Great. Like we completely know what that is like and what that means for you and how big of a deal that is, and we are all over it. Or maybe it's a really challenging day and you have to fire a client, or maybe you had a co-founder and you don't anymore, because you're going separate ways. Anything could happen in the day of a business owner, it can be wildly different from day to day. So like having people who get it and can offer some kind words, offer a referral for you, so you can get what you need is a big deal. Like it's really important to be able to feel like you have people in your corner who have your back on the good days and the really tough days. So a lot of the value comes in that network of support, like this group of people who really are here to fill your cup and to hear you out. But then some of the more tangible things that we offer, we have in-person workshops on all different topics, everything from, creating really wonderful Reels content to protecting your business legally, protecting your intellectual property. We host virtual events like co-working and featured guest talks. We have a really amazing workshop library full of on-demand education and replays for all of our past workshops. We have a content library full of thousands of photos you can use in your content. We have, I did mention our Facebook group, but then we also have visibility opportunities. That's something that we offer that no other membership offers. Like not only will I help connect you with people who are going to fill your cup, but I'm also going to connect you with opportunities to promote your business in a non-salesy way. So That's awesome. You in front of, get you in front of a wider audience, like build up that credibility, build up that online reputation. it used to be that, you know, someone needed to hear what they needed to hear about your business 3 times before they acted. I don't know what the number of times is anymore, but I know it's more than 3. So I can
Yeah.
help get that number up, you know, and so that when they are looking for a massage therapist or someone is looking for a business lawyer, they can say, oh, you know what? I saw Selma in the directory, or I saw Selma Bankaboo, you know, on Instagram, or, oh, I saw Caroline of Balatai in the directory. Let me go ahead and give her a call because she can meet my needs.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely, the word community is coming up for me, which I'm sure we've already said, but it's a really tight knit community of women that are there to support each other. And you could definitely feel that love in the group and at the events that I've been to. So yeah.
I'm so glad. Thank you for that, you know, and I always, of course, love to hear when things are great and wonderful, but I also really like to hear when, like, oh, this could have been better, or I noticed this, was this your intention? You know, and one of the other challenges I wanted to share is, you know, like I've not been a perfect leader. I mean, who has been? But you know, I have learned that kindness is not a diversity strategy. Like you really do need some experience and some education on your side if you're going to be a truly equitable and inclusive business owner, leader, community leader. So I'm really fortunate that I have built up rapport with my members so that if there's something that could be better, they feel comfortable telling me, like they know that I'm going to receive that and take it and move forward with it in a positive, helpful way. So, you know, I did have a member reach out to me. Ooh, I'm throwing my earbud string around. Not used to wearing headphones.
Yeah.
You know, who reached out to me via email in early 2020, you know, during Black History Month. And she said, you know, I'm really disappointed that you haven't made an effort to celebrate Black History Month or showcase your Black members. And I was like, you know what? You're right. That is disappointing. And I'm really sorry. And that was not my intention, but I understand that that's what happened, you know. So
Yeah.
I have taken measures, you know, to not let that happen again. You know, getting out of my own way, like it's I never want anyone to feel tokenized or like I'm only highlighting them or showcasing them because of their race or the color of their skin or their background in some form or fashion, you know. So I let that fear of being offensive in some way keep me from trying at all, you know. And the
Wow.
answer is never don't try, you know. The answer is, you know, research and educate yourself and move forward with the best of intentions and try.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, hey, I'm not sure about this. Can you help me? Can you give me some advice? Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. And there are a ton of really incredible resources, you know, especially when it comes to, you know, diversity and inclusion and equity. I mean, there is a free certificate through USF, which is something that anybody can take part in. Another really wonderful resource that I found is Rachel Rogers is a really incredible business owner and membership and community leader who I've learned a ton from. Simone McNish is a really wonderful like diversity and inclusion professional, and I've learned a ton from her. So always improving, always getting better, and being really intentional with like, okay, I'm not going to just leave it up to chance with who is selected to be on a panel or a speaker or who's featured in a blog. Like I have to seek diversity out, and I can't just assume that all of my members have seen it. I want to reach out to like individual people to make sure that they saw this opportunity and that they sign up for it if it's something they're interested in. So, you know, making a point to not let diversity just kind of oh, well, maybe it'll happen. Like, no,
Yeah.
It will not just happen. Like we have to make it happen.
Yeah. Don't leave it up to chance, but be, like you said, intentional about working to be inclusive. Yeah. I mean, that's actually, it's funny that you're talking about that. That's actually been something that's been on my mind lately. So I've definitely be open to learning more about how to incorporate that mindset in my business. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yes. And can I shout out one really incredible business?
Yeah.
So Colored Joy Stock is a really wonderful resource and business. So it's founded by Christina Jones, who I'm really happy to say is a friend and Babe Crafted member. It is diverse stock photography featuring models with all different skin tones. And I mean, yeah, right. So no matter what type of industry you're coming from, like whether you're a real estate agent or a bookkeeper or you're a graphic designer, a florist, I mean, there are photos that are in her content library that you can seamlessly download and pop into your blog, pop into your Instagram feed. So especially if you're a solopreneur, it can be hard to showcase other skin tones, like people who look different from you, because you want to be genuine, but you also want to showcase like, look, I support and work with people from all different backgrounds. So that's diversifying the imagery in your feed and in your content is one of the many ways that you can do that. And Color Joy Stock is an incredible company. I highly implore anybody listening who this is a goal for to check it out.
Cool. Thank you for that. Yeah. I'll make a note to add that to the show notes too. That's really cool.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So tell me what, like, if you could think of an example of, like a bright spot in the membership, or probably call it like a success story from one of your members of like how they've kind of collaborated or connected with someone in the group.
Of course. So two stories come to mind. So the first one is with a past Babe Crafted member. She is the wonderful Danielle Byer Jackson. She is a friendship coach. You've probably seen her on Instagram under the name Friend Forward. She's phenomenal. So when she was a member, she was the co-founder of a public relations company. And the really great thing about, having a co-founder is that you can navigate the business world, building your business together. Well, she quickly found herself, being a solopreneur. Like it turned out that her co-founder was looking to go a different direction. Totally understand, like, our minds and hearts change all the time. So she found herself, like in a pickle, figuring out like, how do I move forward? Like, how do I start over? And she, had built up this trust with the other Babe Crafted members. So when she posted in the Facebook group and said, here's where I'm at, there was a flood of support, of encouragement, of, tips and ideas on how to get your ducks in a row and how to best move forward. And then she and I also hopped on a call and we talked about, some things that I wanted to send her away. One of them being a mindset shift. She wasn't starting over. She was just recommunicating how she was moving forward. I mean, she had already built all these incredible relationships with PR contacts and, potential clients. And it was just a matter of reintroducing herself. So I definitely wanted to make sure that she knew that. And then also, recommending therapy, because there is a lot of, sometimes we don't even realize what we're carrying around with us, especially if we are on the precipice of a big change, of a big shift, whether it be in our life or in our business. So that was something I also kind of put that ball in her court of like, hey, here's another recommendation that I have that I think could be a really good fit as you move forward. And it was really great to see her soar and thrive with that company that she relaunched under Tell Public Relations until she switched gears to be a friendship coach full-time, which is amazing. And she has a book coming out in 2023. So major kudos to her.
Awesome.
Yeah. Totally. So that was really wonderful. It was really great to be there for her at that time when she really needed it. And then another story I'd love to share is a recent story for a current member. Her name is Amber Romero of A Creative Co. So the story is that she went from being a social media agency based business, focusing on a lot of one-to-one client work, to now running a social media membership and being an educator and a speaker. And I had received an email from a past contact who works in actually the real estate industry. And she was looking for some recommendations on some professionals who could educate, a group of realtors about social media, about video content to market their business. And I had sent a couple of women their way, including Amber. I went through my member directory and I was like, okay, I think so-and-so is a good fit. I think so-and-so is a good fit. Here you go. And she ended up working with Amber and they had an incredible event, incredible experience. And Amber has now signed on to work with them on other speaking engagements. So
Awesome.
Yes. So she was so excited, to have this opportunity that has helped to propel her forward in the direction that she wanted to go.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, that next opportunity is just around the corner. So you gotta, be open to it. So that's really cool to hear that.
Yes. So it's really wonderful to get to be, to play a part, in helping women business owners move forward. I just anything I have, to offer, like I am happy to share. And I love that our members have the same attitude. They're like, what do you need? Like, here you go. So
Yeah.
it's really wonderful to get to to celebrate these wins together.
Yeah, absolutely. So how many members are you at now?
136.
Wow. That's, I mean, you launched in 2018. That's pretty amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I know like we can all be our own harshest critics, like goals are important, but it's again really important to stay focused on how far we've already come. And, I keep a wins journal, and, on the daily, at the end of the day, like I will jot down like, okay, here's some bullet notes of some really fabulous things that happened today. And every time I get so the platform I use to run my membership is Kajabi. And every time I get one of those Kajabi, congratulations, you have a new member, it is just like fireworks go off
Yes.
in my head. And it's so exciting. So whenever I write down in that wins journal, like, oh, got a new member today, like I celebrate every single one of those new members and really strive to show up for them in the way that they deserve. It's not about the numbers, but I think it is important to be aware of the numbers because the numbers don't lie. So on a day where I'm feeling like, man, do I feel like I'm moving forward? I don't know. I look at my numbers. I'm like, okay, I am this far ahead of where I was last year. It's just really important for perspective.
Yeah. And that's when we were talking earlier about celebrating your wins. That's a good point, because that's how you can remind yourself that you are going forward. You're not stagnant, like awareness around what those wins are and successes, because that's just going to motivate you to keep going.
Heck yes. Heck yeah. And it's just really exciting to have a vision and put some action in place and
Yeah.
see it come to fruition. Like I love, like you reap what you sow. Like I live by those 4 words. And it is so
Yes.
awesome to get to like plant these seeds and then get to enjoy them when they grow.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would be some kind of like future goals or like long-term vision that you have for the group?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Some things that are on the horizon for Babe Crafted is I'm launching an awards program. I want to showcase women in a way that I have never before. I think it's really wonderful to get to, we provide a lot of visibility opportunities. We provide a lot of connection opportunities, but I want to toot our horns. Like I want
Yeah.
recognition for these women too. So that's something that's on the horizon, the Babe Crafted Awards,
Very cool.
for members and non-members. Yes, thank you. And then something else that's coming up is, we're a very virtual company, like the way that our members stay connected, the way that we speak to each other is a lot of virtual, connection. So something that I want to do differently is I want to add a print component. So I'm creating a shop woman owned printed guide that's going to be launching later this year. Yeah, I was really inspired by. So I'm not sure if you were able to visit Strands of Sunshine. There used to be a company called Strands of Sunshine on Central Avenue in St. Pete, but I mean, oh my gosh, the wonderful owner, Amy,
yes.
like moved to Europe. So she had a pretty good reason for closing the brick and mortar shop. But she and a couple other business owners got together and they created this like really beautiful foldable printed guide with a map that was like, information on all the incredible local businesses, on Central Avenue. And I thought like, wow, I've been saving it for years. I was like, this is something special. And then, about 6 months or so, I was like, you know what? I want to take the inspiration I have from this amazing piece that these ladies created, and I want to create my own version to showcase like in a really visual way of like, look at all these incredible women-owned businesses like here in your backyard, like both for locals and people visiting. Yeah. there are so many tourists that come to this area, and then there's so many people who are new to this area. So I think that would be a really great like way to say like, look, here are your people.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I started the podcast,
Mm.
because it's like there's people that move here. It's kind of a transit community, like people that live here for a few years and leave. But then there's people that have lived here their whole life, and they don't even know about, it's hard to keep up with all the new businesses that open, and then people, come visit and they just fall in love. And so just being able to like showcase how amazing the area is with all of the small businesses that we have, that's what I love. And that's really cool to hear that you're working on something like that's going to kind of like showcase all that. Yeah, you're right. It's like there's so many people right in your own backyard. Yeah, it's really cool.
Heck yeah. And it's just so nice to get to, I mean, in a perfect world, like not only do I want women-owned businesses to be celebrated more, but I want to send more dollars their way, and I think a part of that is visibility, so we're going to get more visible. We're going to celebrate more. And we're going to keep staying boss.
Nice. I like it. So kind of wrapping up a little bit here. Tell me, I would love to ask what like a typical day looks like for you.
Yeah, that's such a nice question. That's a fun one. So, I am one of those people that starts my day with, a bit of scrolling online. Like I check out what's going on Reddit, I check out what's going on Twitter, and then I get up and I open all the curtains in our house, I make some coffee, I feed the animals, take the dog for a walk, and then I pop into my office, which is our house is technically, it's a 3-bedroom, but the 3rd bedroom is not accessible from the inside of the house. So like I go to my porch, enter my office, which is also my laundry room, transparency here, and open my laptop, right? Check my email, like check our members Facebook group, see what members are working on, see who needs support, and then dive into that day's priorities, which can be anything from moving forward with some logistics on an event, to working on a blog post to highlight my members, to answering some questions from a potential member.
Very cool. Awesome. So this has been a fantastic conversation, not only just to like hear your story, learn more about you. I can see the passion that you have. And I'm not surprised that the membership has grown at the rate that it has, because the passion and the love that you have is just like oozing out of you. So, I mean, when I met with you, it didn't take me long to join. So I know that happens a lot. So
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you're a rock star, and I'm so happy that we got connected through Tara of Book and Bottle, another incredible woman-owned business, brick and mortar location in downtown St. Pete. If any listeners have not been to Book and Bottle, like, oh my gosh, go get yourself a latte, glass of wine, go camp out at Book and Bottle and soak in all the beauty.
Yes, I was telling this somebody recently, whenever I went in there for the first time, which was not, soon after she opened, in 2020, I walked in and I was like, all right, this is my jam right here. I'm at home. Thank you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is so awesome. I had the same feeling. And I mean, what a testament to that woman's vision, because she has really created, not only like a beautiful place to spend time in and to gather, but like a place that is very welcoming and comfortable.
Yeah. But see, you play such a key role in that, because you are supporting women like that. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for, thanks for giving me a chance to be in your corner. I'm really excited and grateful for that.
Cool. Well, before I let you go, I have some fun, just rapid fire questions for you. So tell me, what's your favorite pizza place in the area?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, there is so much delicious pizza. Yeah, but this is rapid fire. So I'm going to go ahead and say, Fabrica Pizza. Their mushroom pizza is delicious.
Yep. I've heard that one before. All right. So if you have a chance to do like a night out on the town, whether that's like favorite cocktail bar or favorite restaurant, where do you go?
Oh gosh. So I would say someplace with a rooftop. I think that one of the really great aspects of living in the Tampa Bay area is like getting to see the beauty of where we live. So I'd say hanging out at Emberd at Armature Works, or Booyah Gastro Bar in South Tampa, or even, like getting a ticket to an event at Station House and hanging out on their rooftop in St. Pete.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. And I was actually just at Canopy, which is another beautiful rooftop bar. You can
Oh
look
my
out
gosh.
here.
That sounds amazing. I haven't been. I'm going to have to put it on my list.
Yes, go to Canopy. So when you have that precious day off, what is your favorite way to spend that day off?
That's a beautiful question. Meeting up with a friend for coffee goes a long way. Like I like love to go to Davis Island Coffee Bar for coffee, or Willa's Provisions. The Davis Island Dog Beach can often find me running around there with my Labrador mix. And, we live in a pretty hot place, so like I tend to stay indoors where there's like nice air conditioning, but, in the cooler months, I really enjoy like a nice fire pit, like make something like a yummy home cooked meal and, hang out in the backyard with my husband and a good fire pit.
Yeah, I like that. I love fire pits. And like, I know people probably make fun of us here because it's like 60 degrees outside and we're freezing around a fire pit. Like, yeah, this is awesome.
Right. Yeah. Hey, like we got to get our kicks where we can. We got to enjoy that 60-degree weather.
Exactly. So tell everybody how they can find you online. What's the best way to connect?
Sure. So Instagram is a really great one, at Babe Crafted. And then listeners can also meet me and all of our members at babecrafted.com and click on our directory and do some exploring there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Gina, for taking the time to chat with me and to share with the audience like your passion and, just how you champion, well, number one, you're championing small business, but you're championing women-owned business, which is, near and dear to my heart because that's the category that I fall into. So
Thank you. Thank you. This has been such a fun afternoon, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be a part of St. Pete Soul, be a part of this really awesome platform that you've created, to highlight local businesses and highlight people's stories. So thank you, Brittany, for all that you do as well, girl.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll check you next time. Bye.